Hello, and welcome to Strange Dominions, where we attempt to unlock the mysteries behind the unseen and unheard, unknown and unknowable. I am your host, Octavian Graves. Tonight, Ian and I speak with Hart D. Fisher. Hart is a filmmaker responsible for such movies as The Garbage Man, TV producer responsible for such channels as American Horrors on Roku, and author. Hart comes to us to talk about some of his strangest encounters. From haunted houses, nature spirits, strange lakes, and much, much more. If you have seen something strange or unusual, such as a cryptid, a spirit, a UFO, or anything in between, please send us an email at strangedominionspodcast@gmail.com for your chance to be on the show. If you are enjoying the shows we are putting out and would like to get access to bonus shows, ad-free shows, merchandise, and the opportunity to be on the show yourself, you can sign up at our Patreon. Our Patreon starts at just $4 a month. You get access to all that, plus much, much more. Without further ado, here's our interview with Hart D. Fisher. All right, tonight, Ian and I are here with Hart D. Fisher. So welcome to the show, Hart.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you on. So you came on to tell us some stories because I had put out an ad on Instagram and you responded to that. Wherever you want to start with that or any of your accolades or anything like that, please go right ahead.
Well, you guys mentioned that you were practitioners. And when you said that, what did you mean? Are you guys invested in ritual magic? Are you chaos magicians? Are you members of the Golden Dawn?
I go for more the Solomonic, old Greek style ritual magic with a little bit of paganism here and there. So I'm more on the old school magic than the chaos magic or lodge magic side. But Ian can speak for himself on what his flavor of occultism is.
Oh, yeah, I'm an all-around, well-rounded sorcerer. I've definitely spent my time in chaos. I've spent my time in all of it. It really is just, as you'll hear Will say in the show, like, to me, magic's magic, and it's all fucking fascinating. And it'll all teach you something.
Everybody forgets that Christianity is magic, too.
Right, Catholicism is very magical.
You'll know a lot of the more cutting edge, but a lot of what's going on in the occult community these days, it's a lot of that. They're taking parts of Christianity, the Eucharist, things like that, and they're pulling out of the roots, or pulling from its roots and pulling some of really phenomenal foundational magic out of it. And, Octavian is fascinated and practices with the grimoires, the grimoire traditions, which, is all those old books from the Middle Ages and past, all the way back to the Greek magical papyri in the BC era from Alexandria. And just now we're getting... just in the last decade, there's so much information and knowledge that wasn't available before. And Christianity is a part of that. And it's a little darker than people might assume. Though if anybody's studied medieval history, they don't have to be told. But yeah, absolutely. So now you obviously have a presence in the horror world going back many, many years. But what I don't know is your connection to the paranormal and the occult, whether experientially or just what you're interested in. What would you say your foundation in the occult is?
I'd say it's because I've probably had my foot on the other side since I was a child. When I was very, very, let's just say, for one thing, they had to cut me out of my mother's womb because I was dying in the womb. So I was a cesarean birth, and I had jaundice, and my mother had to tickle my feet to get me to eat. And about 10, 11 months after that, I wasn't even a year old. I crawled into my parents' bedroom, and my mother had bad period cramps from her menstrual cycle, and she had a heating pad on her stomach, and the heating pad was plugged into an extension cord. And I tried to eat the extension cord. I picked it up and bit into it. I tried to eat it, and so it blew off half my mouth. It seared off half my mouth. One could say that I rode the lightning before I could walk.
Yeah. Now that's a statement. And it's not to deviate too much, but I know one of my mentors, somebody I respect very much, was almost struck by lightning when they were an infant, and they actually use similar terminology, and it's influenced their magic, and I would say made them very powerful and connected. And the point they've always had that they've burned out electrical objects, they draw lightning and electricity around them. Point out where, I don't know, I've only met one or two other people, but sometimes they would get so full of energy they would actually have to place their forehead under the ground and like almost ground themselves out. But I don't know if there's anything you've heard about before, but it seems like you have a good connection to straight power in general since you came into this world.
I'm a 30-year martial arts veteran, so I'm highly trained, and I've spent a lot of time with deep meditation and working with my chi and working with my chakra points. I've done a lot of deep meditation work. I've studied a lot of hypnosis and mesmerism. It wasn't always fun being at school with the fucked up mouth. I had to have 2 different surgeries to repair my mouth and to have like a normal mouth, Did
they give you a hard time for it?
Huh?
Did they give you a hard time for it in grade school?
Yeah, definitely they did. And different times in my life, like when someone's been mad at me, or like there was a period of time where there was these fans of a rock band where the lead singer plagiarized my work, and so they were upset with what I was saying. So they were attacking me and making up memes about me, and they were always talking about my herpes lip. And I'm like, no, I've got a facial disfigurement, folks. That's what that is. It's not a rampant herpes sore. That's a facial disfigurement. Thank you for belittling my facial disfigurement. That was really kind and nice of you, My Chemical Romance fans. Yeah, the lead singer, I mentored him when he was 15. He worked for Boneyard Press, and he wrote a comic book called On Raven's Wings, and it's his first published work. But I don't really want to get too much into Gerard. I want to go back into the idea of not only this notion of energy. So I mentioned martial arts. I've been involved in grounding myself ever since. I normally like to walk around barefoot, and I focus on grounding myself. And a lot of people, when they meditate, they open up their crown point up in the top of their head, and they're drawing meditation or energy through the top of their head. I don't do that. Lightning comes up from the earth and goes into the sky. So I pull energy up from the ground. Energy comes up through my feet. And that's part of when you fight or you box or you understand martial arts, you understand that your power comes through the ground, and you are rooted, and it's in your stance, and it's in aligning your hips and your shoulders and getting it all to work together. And so that's the same with magic, and the same with your energy. It's all discipline in different ways. And so I feel that definitely opened me up for sure. And I'm a live wire. I'm a real live wire. And I almost died, I think it was 6th or 7th grade. It's a little blurry for me sometimes, but I was in the hospital with a staph infection, and I almost died from that. In fact, I was supposed to die. But I'm still here. Yeah, I'm here. And I've had a lot of near-death experiences. And I used to feel that I had shitty luck. I used to feel like, oh, I've only got survivor's luck. If there's an airplane crash and it's going down, I'm going to be that motherfucker who gets out of there with a scratch. And it's been the truth. I've survived some really bad car wrecks with just bruises. And I've been through some really crazy, hairy things. And I think I was talking to my friends about this, and this was years and years ago. And I'm talking about like, oh, I've just got this. This is the only kind of luck I got. And they're like, dude, you're fucked in the head. You got it all wrong. You don't just have a guardian angel, dude. You got a squad. The stories you tell me, man, you got a squad of guardian angels watching out for you, bro. And I was just like, fuck, I never thought of that. And that actually really opened up my world. And that advice really kind of shifted my perspective on a lot of things. And definitely with the supernatural, with the idea of what's bad and what's good. And so I've had these weird experiences since I was little. Really odd things, noises, seeing apparitions sometimes, the shadowy shapes, the shadow figures, feeling things.
Well, speaking of that, what in your memory, what is the first the most notable, earliest paranormal or supernatural experience that you remember having, aside from what you've said?
I don't know.
Or any notable stories
Anything.
at all?
The first
Period.
thing that leaps out in my head would be when I had the first facial reconstructive surgery, and for some reason they didn't knock me totally out, and I was strapped to the table and you're tied down, and they start putting needles in your face and it hurt like fuck. And they had a mirror up so I could see them operating on my fucking face. That was weird.
Oh, yeah. I had an aunt who went under for full surgery and that did not knock her out all the way. She was unconscious but paralyzed. And she was forever afraid of surgery after that. So that's, from hearing about that growing up, I've never had that happen, but that must have been something in a dark way.
Yes, I think that really, because when you asked me that, that's the first thing that leapt into my brain. That and seeing my father almost get blown up in a boat.
So you had a lot happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would you consider yourself a practitioner yourself of magic or some kind of occult tradition at any point in your life, currently or otherwise?
Well, I'm definitely a chaos magician.
Yeah, I vibe with that. I spent a lot of years in the Carol crowd. What do you think of Austin Osman Spare? I don't think we've ever asked that on the show, but I'm a big fan of AOS.
I don't know.
He's the godfather.
He's the guy who came up with sigil magic. Sigils are along before him, but he's the guy who invented the idea of drawing a symbol, forgetting it, and then masturbating, and that activates it. That's his whole thing.
Oh, like sex magic.
Yeah.
He did something called the Alphabet of Desire, where he basically created an entire symbol alphabet and kind of founded the idea that magic in all acts of willful acts in reality is based on desire, psychologically and otherwise, and tapping into your desires.
Meditations. I use that in meditations to manifest, and I used to be big on tests of will, and I used to be big because it was all about like disciplining the other side of your head, the unconscious, and letting the unconscious do the work.
I vibe with that.
Because of my experiences with like almost dying several times or dying and coming back, and hell, my wife died in my arms twice. I brought her back. That's tough
nuts.
one.
Yeah, that's heavy.
She went into the light. She went to the light more than once because it happened 3 times. Once on the surgical table, and then twice with me. So, and she's gone now. She's on the other side. But she's still with me. I feel her around. I could feel her. And wow, this is choking me up. Fuck.
I'd imagine. And of course, condolences. That's rough. And of course, we don't have to get into this if you don't want to.
It's a thing because that's what I'm here to talk about is these spiritual experiences and why you feel this way. So after my wife passed, the house I was living in, I'm in Wisconsin, and I'm living in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So I was in a house that, and Lake Geneva has its own serious spiritual, insane energy here. There is a lot of really interesting. There's a lot of crazy energy moving through this town. And I was told by some folks that there's several covens in practice here, and there's several satanic groups that are in active duty here. And this place was a playground for the mafia, and it was a rock and roll playground for a while. And the lake is one of the cleanest lakes in America, and it's fed by natural springs. And so the house that was behind I had a spring behind my house. And when I got there, it was polluted as fuck. And it had so many nasty fucking mosquitoes, and it was disgusting. And it had garbage in it, and it had like headlights in it and broken glass and all kinds of stuff. And so over the years, I pulled, like, no joke, like 250 pounds of crap out of there. Because every time I hauled a load of garbage out, I weighed it. So it was literally like 250 pounds of just shit, and cleaned it up and got the muck out of there. And the energy behind the house shifted. And then when my wife got colon cancer, she had severe anemia, and the severe anemia led to colon cancer. And then a real darkness descended on the house. And it was really dark. I mean, it spooked me. I'm a martial arts master. I got fucking guns around. I got fucking meat cleavers around. I've handled my business in life. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the south side of fucking Chicago. But man, I was coming out of my skin.
You got hit with that true spiritual darkness.
It felt like something was watching me all the time. And there was something to do with the basement, because it was a 2-flat, right? Like, so the first floor was like a walk up, and it had like a patio, and then it was like built into like a hill, you know? And so the first floor was like your basement area, I guess. And then the second floor was more of your living room, dining room, all that kind of thing. And the back of the house opened up to the spring. And so when this stuff was going on with Waka, there were times where I was out with my dog and I just get this warning in me, like, just, you need to get in the fuck the house now. Get the fuck in the house now. And I'm talking about walking a 90-pound pit bull, okay, that I'm used to walking around Highland Park in Los Angeles, which is, you know, where Billie Eilish grew up next door to me, and Phineas, those guys, this neighborhood that they grew up in where I was living in the Highland Park was super gang infested and super dangerous with shootings and stabbings and muggings and fucking, it was unbelievably violent. And so I'm used to walk around that neighborhood, but I never felt like that there. There were times in these woods and being around the lake, I just felt like, dude, you're in fucking danger. You got to get the fuck out of here, man. And it was this warning voice in me, and I did. I listened to it. I got the fuck out, got back in the fucking house. And there was something going on in the closet under the stairs that went from the basement up, and that's where the water came in and where you do have the shut-off valve. And it would smell like diapers. I don't know why. There was nothing in there. There was like old paint was in there. Cleaning supplies were in there. Not even cleaning supplies. Fucking brooms and mops and old buckets of paint and, like, you know, tarps. There was nothing in there that would smell like diapers. But you'd come in and you'd just have you'd have a bad feeling, you know. And you'd come in the front door, and it's the landing above where that closet is. And at night, I didn't like to open it. I did not like to open that fucking closet door. And it was weird because after my wife's death, and people heard things in this house, like, I've got several friends that never believed in the supernatural till they hung out with me. Never believed it. One of them's an Iraq war veteran. And he's like, I've been to haunted hotels. I've done all that. And nothing ever happened till I stayed with you, Hart. Nothing ever happened till I stayed with you, man.
How long did you live in this house before all this stuff happened?
I'd been living in this house, and we had weird stuff go on, like your keys were always disappearing when you needed them. Shit like that. And it got way worse after Waka's death, my wife Waka. And my mom was over, and she could hear footsteps walking around from downstairs up the steps. And my mom couldn't hear that good. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? She couldn't hear that good in her old age.
You know.
And she was hearing these footsteps and hearing people walking around. And I always the whole time I lived there, right from the get-go in our bedroom, it kind of sounded like I could hear a radio coming from the attic. It was weird because there was nothing in the attic. There was nothing up there in this corner. And I always had this weird feeling about the corner of the bedroom where the two exterior walls met. Or sometimes it felt like someone was looking at me through the window, because we had a deck that had a little walkway by our bedroom window on that second floor. And it was just really weird, and stuff would disappear. And when it would show up outside in the backyard where we looked for it already. And that thing about the weird, like, it felt like a dead kid energy coming from that underneath of that closet area under those stairs. And it also felt like an old lady vibe somewhere too. But the thing that was really odd was my girlfriends were seeing it more, because let me tell you, I wasn't expecting to be single at 49 years old. I was not expecting to be single. I was happily married to my wife. I love my wife. And so I wasn't expecting to be dating people. So I'm dating people, and I'm fooling around, and we're in this living room area, and we would be having sex. And the girls every girl I had sex with over at that house all told me, I saw something. I saw a shadow. I saw something peeking around the corner at us. I saw something walk in front of the TV. All of them. And it happened on multiple occasions, especially if I was dining at the Y, so to speak.
Now, it sounds like your house was an entire hotspot that increased. The activity increased and the energy increased.
Yeah.
Specifically after your wife passed. And now something I have to just point out is from hearing about your backstory with your lightning, we'll call it that, your lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big proponent of the idea that, yes, places can be haunted, but also, in a way, we ourselves can be haunted, i.e., that many phenomena can be generated in conjunction or from ourselves or interacting with ourselves and our nature. Now, you experienced an intense trauma, being who you are, and that, anybody would. It'd be one of the greatest traumatic moments experience anybody could have. And you have all this power in you anyway. You're a martial artist. You've been, as you said, 1 foot in both worlds since you were born. Now, and something I was thinking about, and it's come up before in the show, is springs are often incredibly powerful spiritual loci, and they have heavy connections to the underworld in many different traditions going back to antiquity. Now, you mentioned taking care of the water and the spring, and then just it seems like there's all these different factors in this house with you right into your personal ability and journey into the environment where what do you think? Like, what do you think was going on? One of my
witchy friends said that I had a lot of, what do they call them, undines?
Yep, that'd be water elementals.
Yeah, she said you have a lot of undines out here in your yard.
That makes sense, especially since you cleaned that lake, and doing that acts of service for nature. Bodies of water.
It's funny that you say that because that was a congregation area for deer. And so we have a lot of wild animals out here. And this was in Williams Bay.
Okay.
And so it's kind of a resort town. So there's not a lot of, where I was living, most of those houses are like people's Chicago summer homes. And so these summer homes aren't really occupied that much. And so there was a certain peace there and emptiness that was nice. And
I do know what you mean.
After I cleaned the spring, my friend Trike, he's one of the people that experienced a lot of spiritual activity at the house and also around me continuing. He was always shocked. He's like, dude, you're out there cleaning the thing and the deer are standing there next to you. And there's a rabbit by you. And you're sitting there and there's a rabbit there and there's a deer there. It's like, what the fuck? Why isn't the rabbit running away from you? What's the deal? And he was always puzzled how they would just come up to me and just hang out, and I work on my calm because I do have a tornado of anger in me. And so I spend a lot of time trying to remain calm. And so I'm working on my energy pretty constantly. And the idea of the undines, another one of my friends who is a Strega, very powerful Strega that I've known since I was a child. We were both wonder kids in high school together. And she said that I was strong with the fairy folk. And she said that the fairy folk like me. And that energy was around me.
And from your stories and your experiences, I wouldn't say that's a wrong assessment, at least on just a surface call from me.
And she was a powerful chaos witch. Her father was a crazy Vietnam veteran. Her mother would torture her. Some pretty horrid stuff in her background. And her chaos was her energy ate her alive, it really did. But she could see stuff. And like some of my other friends have seen me, some of my witchy friends have seen me do energy work. And have watched me play with energy because I'll do it. I'll do it like with chi balls, focusing your chi, playing with the ball, then reabsorbing the energy.
Actually, the
I'll
first
do that on the dance floor at a goth club.
same. No, I used to do it when I was younger. That exact thing. The first interview I had on this podcast before I became a host, I told a story when I was like 17 or 16, 18, and I had that group of friends, and that's what we used to do, kind of out of nowhere. And it seems to be something that I would say common, but it's when you can do that, it's a foundational thing. Like, it's just interesting to hear other people like, hey, we did silly stuff like that, but it is a thing. It is definitely a thing. Just that ability to, if you have that energy, I almost say, like, if you have too much of it, you have to do something with it. You have to. Like, I know.
Well, I was listening to Joe Rogan's interview with Russell Brand, and they were talking about that, how they have so much of this energy that if they don't get it out, bad shit happens. And I understand that completely. I've been a type A personality my entire life. I was on the swim team as an endurance swimmer, and I was good at it, very good at it. And
You're
the
like a
water,
reactor.
I'm a big fish. That was my nickname in high school, was Fish. And is Hart, and my grandmother was Swedish, and I'm named after my Uncle Hart. And when you mention the idea of, it's not the house that's haunted. I was in this Highland Park house in LA, also haunted. And I had some friends over for a video shoot that we were doing in the house. And one of them was a witchy lady who did a lot of fetish modeling. And so Stormy she just looks at me and she goes, "You aware this house is haunted?" And I laughed because I've got kind of a crazy laugh. It comes out of nowhere. And she's like, "Are you aware this house is haunted?" And I'm like, "The house ain't haunted. It's fucking me. I'm fucking
haunted. I'm the haunted one.
Fucking ghosts. Those are my ghosts, motherfucker."
Absolutely. Now, I was going to trail off. I had a question for you. Spotted my mind. You edited it out. Octavian, I know you had a question you wanted to throw, and I've been taking over.
Well, I just wanted to know, and you already talked about some of the notable experiences, and if you want to get into how American Horror started and, where that all began, I'd love to hear about that.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I was going to ask a UFO question, but I definitely want to hear about the horror stuff, maybe even more.
I've always loved horror. I mean, I've had an extreme life, so it's required extreme entertainment to take me out of my head. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty smart. So when you're pretty smart, the dumb shit doesn't work for you. Soap operas doesn't really work, So the brain is the biggest sex organ, and the smarter you are, the kinkier you are. So I'm kind of kinky. Not too crazy kinky, but plenty kinky. And I do practice sex magic, as you brought up the idea of the sigils. And I got actually that idea I learned from the comic writer Grant Morrison.
Yeah, he's a big proponent of that.
Yep, I absolutely. Grant, I call him St. Morrison sometimes. Well, they're St. Morrison. Grant's just absolutely amazing. And fan of the Invisibles, I imagine.
Yeah, me too. Huge fan of the Invisibles. And it's not just him. My psychologist was into that with meditation. So I'm under care for my PTSD. I've got post-traumatic stress disorder. And so she makes that part of the meditation. It's the same idea of the sigil, and it's not sex you're doing it. You're focusing energy and meditation and breathing. And it's just the other side of the same coin, I think, because when you talk about energy and being a live wire and being able to channel and somebody saying, "Oh, I've got to put my forehead on the ground." To me, that's a little too much. Like, dude, just take your fucking shoes off and put your fucking feet on the fucking ground. You don't have to put your fucking forehead on the fucking ground, dude.
Well, what's the new saying? It was the top social media phrase of the year was touch grass.
Energy flows, the ions, the whole notion of grounding, the whole idea. You go to the beach and you're by the sound, and that those waves crashing at the beach build up a certain amount of energy. It's real. It's a fact. It's not something we made up. Like, oh, I'm going to tell you about my magical beach motions. It's true. Ions are different there, and it affects us.
And that's important to distinguish.
Electrical animals.
Yep. It's like we talk about symbolic energy, but then, no, we're talking about actual scientifically recognized energy in motion and manipulation. And I think that's really important when that comes up, when we're talking about the occult or magic. It's important to emphasize it for what it is, because I'm a big proponent.
Your nerves, and every human being, your nerves communicate by an electrical impulse that jumps a gap. There's a fucking gap, and it jumps the gap. So it's not a question of, can electrical impulses jump a gap? Yeah, they fucking can. The question is, how fucking far? Fucking far can it jump? That's the real cue. And that's part of us as humanity needing each other. You know, we're connected, we're tribal, we need each other's energy. Like, with my late wife, during her cancer, I was her caregiver. And one of the things I did was, and this really was tough to deal with after, is I was channeling so much energy into her to help her, to keep her alive. And at one point, fluid was filling up her lungs, and I had to help rub the fluid out of her lungs down her back. And I was channeling love. I was channeling love and energy, and using every chi martial arts fucking ride the lightning fucking trick I had. And I never had so much energy move through me, ever. I can't believe how much energy was moving like through you. You're a door, and you're just it's through you. And after that, my ability to channel energy and my live wire capabilities, they didn't go away. You know, none of that went away. So now I'm just, I have a hard time sedating myself. And sometimes it's hard for me to think. And also at that house in Williams Bay, I was poisoned by mold. It had a serious mold problem. And it was at the same time making me really sick. Yeah. On top of, you know, what happened to my wife. And then the year after her death, I'll just admit, I was drinking my fucking ass off. I was fucking drinking. Oh my God, was I drinking? So I was an easy mark for dark spirits or dark energies to attach themselves to and feed upon me. And at one point during her illness, because like doing American Horrors, I love it. I love the channel. Doing the channel is fantastic. It's on right now in the background. So as I chat with you guys, it's on now. And I've got an old, you know, Ham's beer commercials playing right now from 1970. A beer is a beer is a beer, cause it's just a Ham's. and now there's a big titty cigar commercial talking about, you want it nice and wet. And so it's fun. And I try to mix humor with horror, and I think it works well. And the thing about horror is it gives you a safe place to process your fear, and you can process your anxieties. And that's a big tool of horror. And it's one of the things that when we started American Horrors, my late wife and I, this is our only child, the only child we got to have, because her cancer first came around in 2006, and she had to have a complete hysterectomy. So we developed the American Horrors channel. It started off as a TV show in 2008. And that's when I was working, that's when Billie Eilish was my neighbor, and Billie's in the opening credits. So Billie is one of the crazy, bloody, evil kids in the opening credits of the American Horrors television series, and also in the promos. And so
that's so cool.
Part of the creation of American Horrors was when Waka was recovering from cancer and chemo had just destroyed her and radiation destroyed her, and she was just practically a living skeleton for a while. There was nothing on TV she could, and this is going to sound crazy about horror, but everything on TV was about, all reality shows are about lying assholes, lying to each other, fucking each other over. It's pretty negative. The stuff on television is really a downer. And we'd been betrayed by a lot of our close personal friends during her illness. So she was hurt in so many ways. There was nothing. She just ended up watching like Big Cat Diaries, you know, and home repair shows. Because at least at the end, something good happened, you know.
Right.
Like,
you need that
bit of watch hope. Breaking Bad. Every episode, it was a downer. Every goddamn episode of Breaking Bad was a fucking downer. There was no moment. So in horror movies, generally, there's going to be a moment where the hero finally conquers the bad guy or the monster, or what have you, overcomes their faults, overcomes their fears, faces their fears. maybe the right people died, maybe the wrong people died, but they made it through the journey.
Right.
And so the horror we play is more creepy, more spooky, more satanic. I'm not really into the torture stuff.
Me
Like Saw.
neither. Me neither.
I'd say that's my least favorite kind of horror. I'm not really big on like the Hostel type stuff.
I mean, I like Hostel #1 because it's a fantastic suspense film. But what happened is everybody, like, okay, The Exorcist. What's so great about The Exorcist is Damien Karras's journey and how the demon is taunting him, or how the demon's taunting the mother with this perfect kid, and you've got this perfect world. How did the spirit get in here? You know what I mean? How did Captain Howdy do it? And that's the crux. But the idiots who made all the Exorcist films after were all caught up on this. I gotta have a spooky voice. My head has to spin. We gotta throw the holy water. And it becomes this cartoon. And that's not what made the Exorcist scary at all. That is
no,
not.
it's the subtlety. It's
Yes.
that subtle existential, the invasion of the unknown and the evil into normalcy and goodness, even when it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And it's like an infection. But no, I get you. And there's that shallowness that I think that befalls a lot of horror sequels, to be honest. And a lot of sequels.
Horrible exorcism TV show that was fucking such a turd. This show that's called Evil that was, I think, on CBS. I was watching on the Paramount Channel. It was so fucking. I mean, it was like the X-Files of exorcism, but not really. And the writing is so weak, and and they don't know what they're talking about. They don't fucking know. Like, these people writing these shows, they don't know any Satanists. They don't know anybody from the Temple of Set. They don't fucking know anybody. They don't know any of the LaVeys. They don't know any of those guys.
They don't know about the Usenet Satan Wars, Satanic Temple Wars of the early 90s on the news groups.
Yeah. No, I know. I knew. I had interviewed Stanton LaVey a couple of times, and I'd hung out and partied with Zandora LaVey up in San Francisco a couple of times. Well, actually, just once at Danzig's big show up there. It was my 10-year wedding anniversary then on Halloween, and because I got married on Halloween, I had a costume wedding at a haunted Masonic temple, the oldest Masonic temple in Los Angeles.
That's really cool.
That is awesome.
My father was a Shriner.
Oh yeah.
So, are you a fan of Lucio Fulci and like the Italian horror genre? Okay,
A lot of the stuff we play on the network. We play a lot of Fulci. We play a lot of. I call it the VHS age of horror. And so, what I'm replicating with the channel is what it was like for me in the late 70s and early 80s to go to a grindhouse theater. Like, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and one of the things that was great, and the neighborhood again was super violent and stuff. One of the things that was great, though, was the movies. And my parents would let me and my brother go because it was like 5 blocks from the house. So they just let us walk over there, and it was $1.50 for 2 movies. And so we go every Friday or every Saturday with our buddies. So all of us, we'd go to the local candy store around the block, and we'd all buy candy, and then we'd swap in the theater. And, and I got to see all these amazing movies and the crappy trailers, and the beat up prints. And then the video stores happened. And you'd go and you'd rent like every horror movie they fucking had, unless it had a hologram on the cover. If a box was too cheesy for me, I didn't really want to watch the movie. You know what I mean?
I'm like that with CDs and tapes and things and music. Like, if the cover really sells it for me.
Yeah, it does. It actually really does.
There was something about that. Like, I remember being younger and Blockbuster, Hollywood Video back in the day in the 90s. I have a very vivid, nostalgic memory of just being a little kid walking through the video store aisles and seeing all the video covers. That's what was, the drawing. I remember, like, I don't know which one it was, where like the eyes like coming out of the haunted house in the background and the eyes in the foreground. I remember what movie, Critters and Gremlins, and just, oh man, there was just something about.
One of my friends wrote a Critters movie.
Really? Oh, you got to tell us about it a little bit.
David J. Scow is the author of a great book called The Kill Riff, and he wrote the film adaptation of The Crow, and he wrote a couple Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and he wrote one of the Critters films.
Oh, that's cool. Critters is a classic for me. I haven't seen it in years, but
it's really good.
Same with Crow too, really, and all of those movies. So you're a big horror guy. there's always, with all of our people are horror people. All of us are. Our listeners, our friends, us, you. What modern horror, the horror today, give us, what do you think is good about it? What do you think is bad about it? And what do you think could be done better? Where do you think where would you like to see it go?
I'm completely bored with exorcism films.
Okay.
I'm utterly fucking bored. I'm bored out of my fucking mind. I don't want to see one more. And I like them because they're creepy and spooky. You know, I liked, what was it, The Haunting of Emily Rose? That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I'm tired of the whole Roman Catholic ritual. I'm tired of the holy water or them gargling the whole. We do a thing on American Horrors. One of the great shorts we have is called Mafia Exorcist. And it's where the Italian mob has been hired. There's so many exorcisms needed in Portland. They hire the mafia to help them. And the whole
That's phenomenal.
running gag is they keep using the cross and they're laughing at it. And they're like, that won't work on me. And they go, it's in the contract. I have to.
Hey, you ghost, get out of here. You know.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. It's called Mafia Exorcist. It's playing on our show, Groovy TV. And in fact, it's going to be on American Horrors in about 10 fucking minutes. Because one of my great joys is I'm the programmer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So my wife and I, we created the American Horrors channel to be a place where you could check out. There's no political crap on my network. Okay. I made a point to keep my politics out of the entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So the idea is it's American Horrors it's good time horror. It's where you want to put your feet up. And we don't have a programming schedule up. On Fridays and Sundays, I've got new programming. Like our original TV shows go up on Friday night and Sunday night. So we've got a show called Groovy TV, and we've got another show called Gorecast. Then we've got our paranormal investigation show, Mission Terror. And the Mission Terror show is great. They've gotten a lot of good footage, and not this bullshit. Ladies and gentlemen at home, I'm here to tell you. Let me spoil it for you. Hi, I'm Hart Fisher from Los Angeles, and I am the wizard behind the fucking curtain in Oz, motherfucker. So when I tell you all that shit on the news is a lie, I can fucking tell you with authority because I work here. I'm in TV. It's the fuck I do. It's my job. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, these reality shows, these paranormal ghost hunters, as they shoot it in daylight and just put a green filter on it. They're shooting it in light, guys, and they're just putting a green filter on it, for one. And for two, on many of these shows, I'm not going to name which ones because they're multiple. The producers fuck with the cast. There's people fucking with them, like Blair Witch Project. Yeah, like Blair Witch Project. So they're fake as fuck, guys. Fake as fuck.
Well, that's what I feel about the Bigfoot shows. You know, there's so many people who think that they're going to get real evidence of Bigfoot on these shows, and it's flabbergasting because I am a Bigfoot guy and I can't stand any of those shows.
No, they just regurgitate the same like 5 main American myths. You know, Loch Ness Monster, Bermuda Triangle, fucking Bigfoot, and fucking Area 51. I don't need to hear one more goddamn thing about Area 51. I don't ever fucking need to hear another fucking thing about Roswell. I don't want to
say Roswell's mine. That's my Roswell. I could care fucking less about Roswell.
Yeah, well, I've heard it too much. It's just the same shit they regurgitate all the time. This week on Unexplained, let's talk about the same shit you saw in Ancient Aliens 3 months ago. Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Yep.
And there's so much, I wouldn't want to say real, but there's so much lesser known, but even more evidentially stimulating lore in the world and in this country that has nothing to do with, as you accurately put it, things that are just regurgitated constantly. There's so many absolutely fascinating and sometimes terrifying encounters and experiences going back 100 years that never get talked about, that oftentimes have, a mountain more evidence, even if you're looking for evidence behind them. And it's like, we do our research all the time. I'm digging into UFO reports and encrypted sightings all day, every day. And it's like, I look at some of these are incredible. These are absolutely. I had an
experience with, I'm not sure if I would call it a cryptid. I didn't get to see it.
Well, tell us the story.
No, I was in Lake Geneva. I'm in Williams Bay and I'm by the lake, and the lake here on Lake Geneva, and it's so beautiful. This is such a beautiful town. I got to thank the people of Lake Geneva so much for they helped me get through so many bad times. They really have. And this place is very magical. I've been told that there's an intersection in the middle of the lake where two ley lines come together, and there's a nexus. That. And so there are some practitioners that believe there's a portal in the lake. And there are days where I'm afraid to get in that fucking lake, and there's days where I feel like I'm sitting in my mother's bosom. You know what I mean?
That comment is something I share, and you hear a lot when people are really talking about, I'd call authentic spiritual locations, if you want to call them that. That sense of seasonality and that sense of shifting moods. Like the land itself has a mood, and sometimes it's like the land is your mother, and sometimes you feel like you are literally being hunted. And it could be almost sometimes in the same day. I know I've taken Octavian to a place before, and he's taken me to places before, and they have that quality where...
When Waka had passed and I was talking about this darkness at the house, I was dealing a lot with, like, there was a lot of owls. Owls were hanging out.
Oh, don't bring up the owls. I have a huge fascination for the owl current of just owls and its connection with the paranormal. Have you ever read the book Messengers?
Them and a flock of what do you call it? A murder of crows.
Okay.
Those crows and owls that I was seeing all the time, hanging out by my house, right in front of my house. And well, my friends that live there are like, man, I don't. What do you mean owls, dude? I don't normally see fucking owls around. What are you talking about? This is a friend of mine that lived like a block away. But
what's your weirdest owl encounter?
Shortly after my wife's death, one of my group, because when I moved here from LA, I assembled my film crew from all the locals. So I recruited all the locals to work for me. All the locals are actors, camera people, sound people, effects people, and a lot of them are really young. So I had this photographer, and she was 20 years old, and she was dating this guy that I had used as a makeup effects guy on some of my shoots. And Ariel wanted to go out and do some late night, super long exposures to try to capture spiritual energy. And we took the path. We took the path by the lake. And where I'm at, this path goes towards there's a lot of Christian churches and Christian summer camps around the lake. So there's several different Bible camps around. And so this lake path right around where we were getting up by, I think it's called Congress Point. And there's this, when Waka and I would walk the path when she was alive in the daylight, it always had a weird ominous energy, because the lake path is not like you're thinking like it's a paved road. It's not. Some parts of it have brick in it. Some parts are just a dirt path. Some parts have little bridges to get you over some of these streams that are there, these little, springs. And so this was a bridge that went under, like the house had been built right up to almost up to the water, and it had an overhang. And then, so many of these houses had like that basement area, and there was a door there, and the spring ran down the hill, and you would walk over it. And so as you're walking towards this ominous energy patch, because I would make the joke to my friends, I'd be like, see that door there? Perfect entryway for your sex dungeon. I'm like, I bet you there's a guy chained to a wall down there. And I used to make jokes like that. And we were at night, and we found a nice spot, and as we're walking, I don't know, the hair on the back of my neck was going up the same way it does when shit's about to go down on the street. And I'm not feeling good about our little trip, because they wanted to get me out of my head and help me feel a little better, which I thank them for. And we get up to this spot, and they wanted to go over that spot. They wanted to go past, and we got near it, and I'm like, no, we're not. We're going to stop right fucking here. We're going to stop here. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, this is bad. We need to stay the fuck away from that spot. And they're like, well, okay. They were just listening to me, they're kids. And I start hearing this noise, and I'm going to try to replicate it a bit here. And it sounded like, and it was arrhythmic, and we're talking, it's wintertime. It's like fucking cold. And it's about midnight or 11 p.m. at night. It's late. So there's fucking nobody out, man. And this camp is closed. There's nobody there. All the houses are shuttered and empty. They've all got like weather stripping on them and stuff. Like they put tarps over the windows and stuff that block it from the winter winds. Everything's sealed up, man. There's fucking nothing there. And I'm getting this bad feeling. And she's starting to take pictures. And right when we're like decide to take some pictures by that bridge, I start hearing this noise. And it's arrhythmic. It's not rhythmic, and it's not from water lapping. There's no water running anywhere. You can't hear any fucking water. And I'm looking dead at this spot, and I feel it's in the lake, and there's some reeds up in the way, and some shit is in the way. I can't quite see in the water, but it's in the water right on the shore. And there's a bunch of rocks down there. And it's not an animal. It's not a fucking bear. There's no fucking bears here. There's no fucking mountain lions here. It's not a fucking fox. It's not a fucking turtle. But it's got that. And it really rattled my fucking cage. And I didn't want to turn my back to it. I didn't want to turn my back to that space. And I'm like, you guys stay the fuck away from there. Because Waka, my late wife, was Japanese. And the Japanese, I will say, are magical people. There's an interesting energy. I've been to Japan many times. And I think there's something really special about that place and about the people from there. And she would talk about the yokai. And she grew up by the sea. So she grew up out in the country and she grew by the sea. And they told her all these different stories about the different river demons and river monsters that would suck up young children and take them into the water and kill them and eat them. Witches that would grab you and drown you and had these long fingers and claws. And Waka would not go out on the docks at night on that lake. I did. I fucking, I'm out there with, hey, come on out here. And she'd get this look on her face like when you're a parent and you're making your 11-year-old come over for their spanking. You get over here. They're looking at you and they're like, I don't want to come over there. I don't want to go over there. I'm not going over there. You're going to come over and get your spanking. I'm not going over there. And so I never pushed her on it. And she's like, no, I'm not going out there. And she didn't like that space either. She really didn't like that space.
Was it a feeling she had? Or did she have an experience?
She had some experiences with me in the haunted house in Highland Park.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess I meant the lake in particular, but now that's interesting. I was actually was doing some research on yokai just yesterday. Continue, please.
Do a thing in the reeds. I knew it wasn't a person. I fucking knew it was not a goddamn person. I knew it wasn't an animal. I didn't know what the fuck
sound. Now, did the sound? Would you say it sounded natural or perhaps mechanical, or
no? No, it sounded just like what I'm doing. And I'm basically, rapping against a piece of metal here.
Now, I asked that. Yeah. And the listeners can hear it too. Now, I asked that because in many UFO reports, unexplained reports, even cryptid reports going way back, oftentimes there's a reoccurring pattern where people will often hear repetitious, and it's not always in a straight pattern, but like metallic beeping or tapping sounds out in the middle of nowhere in the woods or in nature, or even in conjunction with they'll see a strange light or an apparition. They'll hear things. I've heard stories and I've read stories where similar things have been reported, like people see an apparition or something that looks like a gray alien in their room, or they see a light in the sky or in the woods, and they suddenly hear this rhythmic, like machine tapping. Sometimes they've described it as being like almost like a washing machine.
This wasn't, that's what set me off. If it was rhythmic, I could write it off as maybe there's a current I don't know about, or maybe there's something, but it was really irregular.
Well, I should say,
no water movement.
Not necessarily rhythmic, excuse my translation.
And also I had a knocking that was happening at the house. Mm-hmm. So the 3 knock.
Okay.
Well, you know what that is.
No.
So knocking is just to illustrate the point. So my mentor was a Solomonic magician for going on 12 years now. And he has reported numerous times, and what he does is he summons spirits to physical appearance. That is his main thing. And he has always said that before they actually show up, there is always 3 knocks. In Bigfoot reports, I have been followed through the woods by tree knocks. Knocking is a thing throughout the entire phenomena in multiple different areas. So that's not surprising to me at all, especially if you're having all this spiritual activity at your house.
And everybody heard it. My friends heard it. It happened to my friends. My friend that was the war veteran, a sergeant. No fucking joke. This guy. It happened in the guest room. But he was sleeping in the guest room where my wife had died in my arms twice.
That's interesting. When was the last time you've been to the house?
I had to move out. I had a real serious conflict with the landlord, and the mold was making me sick and everybody in the house sick. So I've moved twice in the last year.
Okay.
Fucking twice in the last year, because the house I moved after that, I was too close to a radio antenna. The EMF was fucking with me, and was fucking with my internet. That's a whole other story. That house, because that house too had a serious amount of activity in it, and that's another house where I showed you guys the spirit boards, and I had mentioned the thing about the pentagrams. When I get a bad vibe, I'll put them away, because I've worked for Danzig, Marilyn Manson. I directed music videos for Obituary. I did artwork for Manson. I did jobs for Rob Zombie. I've been involved in this on all levels. You know what I mean? I worked with Matt Zane. I was the editor. I mastered out Club Satan, The Witch's Sabbath, which is a really dark satanic pornography film that's really fucking super dark. One of my director friends said it's in the top 15 most evil things he's ever seen.
In the business, it's a commendable compliment.
Yeah, it is. And he's a really notable horror director himself, Chris J. Miller. But I want to get back to the knocks, because my friends heard it. And it was going on even when it was happening when my wife was alive too. The knocks and the house you asked me how long have I been? I haven't been to the Williams Bay house since I moved out in November of 2021. So I moved out the very end of November. And then I just moved again in December out of the other house that I went into, and so now I'm actually feeling like I'm in a good space, and I haven't really noticed any real spiritual activity here, and I haven't really felt anything here, and I haven't. My lady friend hasn't noticed anything watching us while we're playing around.
That's always a positive. No distractions. But
if somebody would think that apparition was my wife, well, I don't think so. Like a lot of people said, "Oh no, that I just felt that shadow shape that was watching us was your wife," and I'm like, I don't fucking think so. I don't think so at all. I'm not buying that. I didn't feel like it was my wife around. It didn't feel like Waka at all. Not at all. The energy I was feeling, because I saw the dark shape a couple times myself. I saw some shadows move across my TV screen, in the middle of the night. And I'd seen some different shadow shapes in the mirrors at my place. And so I'd seen the shadow figures, and I had felt things. And there were times where you would just have that diaper smell, and shit was moving around so much in the house. And there was the knocks. And like one of the things that disappeared, sometimes I felt like my keys disappeared when I shouldn't have been driving.
Okay.
You get what I mean? Like if I shouldn't have been driving, that's when my keys disappeared. Like if I needed to be home for a couple of days, my keys would disappear. And then they would reappear when I really needed them, And one of the times it happened was it showed up in the garage by the car in a spot that, okay, it's a big 2-car garage. I got a Chevy Impala, and I've got a lot of boxes in there of like comics and stuff, because I'm a comic publisher. So my buddy Trike, who the joke is I'm young Gandalf and Trike is my Hobbit, and I'm Gandalf and the Hobbit. So he's my buddy, and we hang out. He's my hangout pal, and so when something's going wrong, I'm like, dude, I need you to fucking do a reality check for me, man. I need a reality check. Help me out with these fucking keys, bro. Help me look for these keys. And we looked fucking everywhere for him. And yeah, we looked under the fucking car. Yeah, we looked in the fucking garage. Yeah, we looked in the fucking car. We looked fucking everywhere. And so like 4 days goes by, and I'm in the garage moving boxes, and I'm literally walking from like one end of the garage past the car. And on the third or fourth trip by, because you know when you're carrying a box, you're looking down to watch where you're walking.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Cardboard box, your eyes are down. You're not looking up at the sky. You're looking down to make sure you don't fucking trip and fall on the box. So I'm looking down, and I'm carrying like I said, load number 3 or load number 4. Motherfucker, those keys are right in my path. I just walked over that spot 2 or 3 other fucking times, and I didn't fucking, there was no fucking keys there. God damn it.
Right. So
and I call out to Trike, and I freeze, and I'm like, Trike, get in here, man. Get in here, dude. And he's in the backyard, and the backyard opens onto that spring, because we noticed that when shit would show up, it'd be by a doorway or entry point by where the fucking spring was. And the spring came up out of the ground right in my backyard. And I cleaned it up and made it nice. You know, I was making it all really pretty. And he comes running in, and he goes, no fucking way. No fucking way. And he's like getting pale, and his eyes are getting big. He's like, that's where I put my head to look under the car. I put my head right there on the ground to look under the fucking car. Those keys were not fucking there.
So yeah, between both of you, this wasn't, a slip of the mind. Those keys were certainly not there, and almost like something was letting you know in the replacement of these keys that it was.
Another time it was my phone. Another time it was my phone. So a buddy of mine gave me a Weber grill, and it was his dad's family grill, and it had the silver like bench. It's in like a silver, like it's a wheeling stand, and it's got like a stainless steel spot where you could put your meat and stuff. And so I had just cleaned that, but my phone had gone missing. And again, I call up my buddy, dude, help me, man, because he's shorter than me. And when you're looking for stuff, I found this out with having a little Japanese wife. Whatever she couldn't find, I could find easy. Whatever I couldn't find, she could find easy. You know what I mean? Different perspectives. So I'm like, Trike, dude, I can't find my phone. Help me, bro. So we look everywhere, and I'm like, call my phone, man. Call my phone. It's just ringing. It just went to voicemail. Fuck, okay. So I had cleaned the grill, and my phone was gone for a couple of days. And I cleaned the grill the night before with like Barkeeper's Friend, which is a white powder, and it left a little bit of a residue, right? And when we had been looking, that residue was kind of on there. You could see like the little white powder, right? But we were going to go outside, and he was going to we'll sit in the backyard, and I'll smoke a cigar, and he'll smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean? And I'll be drinking my wine. And we're out in the back. We're walking out to the back, and I went, motherfucker! And he's like, what? Dude, no way. No fucking way. The phone's right there on the grill. It's right in the middle of the silver thing, and the phone is black. And there's nothing else on it. And when I picked it up, there was like a ring around it, as if it had been set there maybe in the night when the metal was cold, and then, you had the condensation, the moisture in the morning, I don't know, but there's a little ring around the fucking phone.
Oh, that's wild.
I couldn't believe. And Trike's like, dude, we were standing here on the deck. I was looking right at that spot on the grill when I called your phone. When I called your phone, I was looking right at that thing.
That definitely sounds like something is having a tease at your expense. It wants you to know that it's having a tease at your expense.
Nothing malicious happened, like nothing like awful or bad. Like at the other house, I'll call it the Morgan house, the house I just moved out of. With these spirit boards, I got them from Danzig. I have this beautiful limited edition wooden spirit boards that Glenn did. It's the Samhain one, the Misfits one, and the Danzig one. And the Danzig one, Glenn loves playing with these older satanic symbols. And a lot of people don't know that Glenn does a lot of the artwork on this stuff. So Glenn loves to find this stuff. And it's got a couple of Baphomets on it, the pentagram with Baphomet. And sometimes I'll get a bad vibe and I flip it over, so those pentagrams aren't out. You know what I mean? Because one of my friends thinks like those boards might have picked up some of that negative energy in the Williams Bay house, because we never felt this way about these boards out in Highland Park. But after Waka's death and during her death, there were times where I put them away. I didn't, because I like to display them. I like having them out. It's a nice piece of art. It's a nice talking point. And fucking Glenn Danzig gave them to me.
Yeah, you got it.
Gave them to me. I mean, fuck.
Those are treasures.
Pretty cool. So I would flip it over. And at this house, they were in a part of the basement that I wasn't in. And somehow that motherfucking spirit board was flipped over. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on in that house as well. But I want to know more about this knocking thing. What do you, because I haven't heard it in a while, but you say it also involves like alien abduction stuff or things like that?
Well, alien abduction stuff, cryptid reports, obviously ghost stuff. It is across the board. And there's a lot of different explanations, possible hypotheses about it. A lot of the Bigfoot guys like to say that when they hear it in the woods, that's the Bigfoot's phasing into our reality. We don't know why. We don't know why it's so synonymous with all these things, but it is, and you can't get away from it. Every phenomena has this ubiquitous knocking.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not always knocking. It's often it is. I've specifically myself, I've done a ritual in the past where right as I began it, I heard a cock crow in the distance, and this was 3 in the morning, or not even 2:33 in the morning, and in a place that I would go to nightly for years, and I'd never heard a cock crow there, and it crowed 3 times easy and did not again, and then I did an 1.5 hour long ritual, and at the end of it, right as I was pretty much parting the circle and ending the rite, cock crowed 3 more times, and as an example, but the number 3, like 3 repetitious sounds, it goes back in archaic magic. It goes way back. Now I can't say again either why specifically what that signifies. I know that in certain forms of ritual magic, you'll take a bell, you'll ring it 3 times, and you go like you can say Hecus Hecus este Babyloi is, begone the profane, and that's one way in certain forms of magic to kind of cast out spirits and energies that don't belong there. And, that involves the 3 ringing of the bell. Also that, when you're bringing in ritual and certain forms of lodge magic, you can kind of begin the sacredness. So in a way, in more magical context, the bell or the 3 knocks, because knocking is sometimes used as well. I believe the Golden Dawn used it in certain things. And it kind of is like a marker between the profane or the regular state of reality and the magical or spiritual or liminal state of reality where you're going to do your work. So essentially, I guess we could say in a generic way, the 3 knocks or the 3 sounds is the kind of the ending of the normal and the beginning of the not normal, and then the return to it later. So if we're talking about an entity, there would be a connection there where if something is coming in, a spirit is approaching, and that knock, it could be, perhaps it's like a universal law in the spiritual world on some level where that's just what it sounds like when it's coming.
A lot of the ghost adventures and ghost hunter shows, they like to say that the knocking represents the Holy Trinity, but the knocking has been around for a lot longer than the Holy Trinity, so I don't count that at all.
Then let's bring up a question here. I'm going to put this into your heads and maybe your viewers at home or listeners at home. Okay. I've been asking this question from religious people for a while. I've been working on a horror project, and the question is, it deals with vampirism, and we know that the vampire spirit and demonic spirits have existed longer than Christ has been on the earth.
All the way back to Egypt.
Yeah, even beyond. I'm sure.
The Sumerians and the Akkadians and the Babylonians.
Calling something a demon is like us laying a moral judgment on something.
Yeah, it's a very morally loaded term.
Yeah. So I'm going to say non-physical entity, and I prefer that.
Well, that's why we just call it spirits. Like in Solomonic magic, they call them chthonic spirits, which are spirits of the earth or in the earth. But that we don't usually use the term demon. That's a very loaded term, and it's not really helpful.
Yeah,
because don't angels
I like your term, non-physical entity. That's fine.
Yeah, I like non-physical entity because I have no fucking clue what the fuck it is.
Right.
I don't fucking know. And one of the things that drives me nuts on the ghost shows is when they just go, oh, well, you know, little Susie died here when she was 6 years old of leukemia, and she had clubfoot, so that clubfoot is the sound of little Junior. And I'm like, whatever entity's fucking with you, you don't know what the fuck it is, idiot. Stop jumping to conclusions. For the love of God, stop jumping to conclusions. So my question is, what did people use to ward off a vampire before the crucifixion of Christ?
They probably used a phylactery. Or a phylactery. So in the PGM, or the Greek magical papyri, there are a number of these things called phylacteries. They're usually like headbands, and they have symbols written on them. Or there's a necklace that you can wear in one of the Hecate rituals, and it's a picture of Hecate on a lodestone, and that is used as a phylactery. It's a piece of a piece of jewelry or something you wear on you that has a protective symbol that keeps things away. That's at its core. That is what it is.
So,
and
like
these
charms,
things have been used for thousands of years before Christ ever came into the public domain, as we'll call it. And so that's most likely what was used to ward off any kind of negative spirit.
Right. So
maybe,
usually,
like maybe an Odin's knot amulet on your wrist or something.
Right. Yeah.
yeah, like talismans, charms. Often, they would leave offerings, sometimes to the spirits that they thought were haunting them, to go the fuck away, or to a greater spirit to intercede.
You should look up. I think it's in the Sumerian tradition. There are these bowls that have like magic written into the bowls, and those are used to ward off negative spirits.
Right. And then you also had cases of like materia where they would use, different herbs or material goods of some, burn them, whatever. Just
I've done a lot of staging in my time.
Mm-hmm. And it's also to remember, we were talking about, you said you don't want to just call it like a demon, because honestly, we have big feelings over here about that entire current of thought where people are just stuck in that very modern Protestant Christian paradigm, and it kind of infects into everything, which is understandable, I guess, in a mainstream sense, but it doesn't reflect. I think it does a great disservice to the potential reality, like reality itself, of what these beings and intelligences are. In the sense that, in my view, in our view, you have non-physical entities of different kinds, from different places, different makeups that might be as alien to each other as they appear to us. And it's a huge ecology of spiritual phenomena. And we don't know a lot about it. Even practitioners don't know a lot about it. And just to say they're all demons it's simplistic and it's almost insulting. But it comes from a place of that humans fear what they don't understand, and they use the references they have. Many people, even if they are not, quote, Christian anymore, they still have that foundation. They've never educated themselves to replace it. So as soon as something goes bump in the night, their, rational, modern, millennial, atheistic sensibilities go away. They're like, oh, I'm haunted by a demon. It's like, well, it might be a nature entity that has always lived in this land that's just woke up and is knocking at you with no bad intention at all.
About the water when I cleaned it, because there was this one tree. It just didn't seem right, and the space under it, like the way the spring worked, for some reason, man, it really sucked the mud right out of where that tree was, and I felt like that was a portal. I didn't like being anywhere near that spot at night, and I was always careful when I walked through the spring and was cleaning it and working it, because at one point we had so many rains it really cleared itself out like a wound. And it really cleared all the gunk out of it. And it was nice. But the thing that I wondered was, what if whatever was, quote, we'll just use negative and positive for to make it easy. So right. Whatever might have been feeding or basking in the negativity of the pollution and the goo and the crap and the gunk, whatever energy or entity, whatever you want to call it, what if they were kind of mad at me for cleaning shit up?
I have a theory that certain kinds of entities, we'll call them base spirits, and we'll say that there are many kinds of spirits, but a base kind of spirit are almost animalistic. and this is just a theory, but it seems to play out, where they're not like angels or anything with names, but they're just kind of like animals in the spirit world. And they tend to go and feed off of certain whatever's in that land, or they'll resonate. Sometimes you might say they feed off a certain resonance, where it seems like, you ever notice that sometimes you have, like, say, a house with negativity in it, very bad trauma or abuse, and could be that these kind of base spirits will eat that, but what they eat, they become, and they grow. And when they do that, they want more of it, and they also give off what they eat, and it attracts more. So it's kind of like a cycle, where you have, I think, in nature, you generally have a natural balance, where you have spirits of trees, you have spirits in all things. I tend to believe spirits are in all things, whether they're conscious and active in a sense that we can detect as people is neither here nor there, but some certainly are.
The cries of the carrots.
Right. Yeah, but no, yeah. Animals look like the carrots with the smiley faces on them. But you might have it that humans come around and we pollute the land, we dig it up, we fuck it up, we infect it with not only our garbage, but our emotional and mental garbage. And the spirits are just existing. That's what, when you say a spirit of a tree, that is the tree. It's not like a thing that is attached to the tree. It is the tree. And like, you have pollution. It's like a spirit won't necessarily die, but it'll transform. That's how I think, that kind of thing. It'll like mutate. And you might be right, where like it's just kind of existing and eating what's there. And maybe you change something, which is a good thing. Let's not get away from that. You cleaned up a natural place, and that's a positive act. You're returning that base back. You're doing a service for the land, and that's a good thing for those spirits and the land. But yeah, you might have it. Think of like an addict who's, you take an addict away from what their body thinks it needs, and they get angry and they flip out, even though you're saving them.
I felt at times like something was angry at me at the house. I did. I felt like something was mad at me, or I don't know. It was a little of both. And like now I've like really stripped my life down. So like my buddies were telling me, like, dude, all your stuff has baggage. Everything in your life has a fucking story to it. And I'm like, yeah. And so I've really been streamlining my life and letting go of a lot of stuff and packing a lot of stuff away. And like I've been selling my wife's cool vintage rock shirts over the summer to her friends. And I've been divesting myself and trying to clear out my energy. But I've been trying to do that for so long, because I went through this when my girlfriend was raped and murdered in 1993 during the making of my first film, The Garbage Man. And that was I lost my mind. That's when I really snapped and just lost it for a long time.
I couldn't even imagine.
So I've spent a lot of time rebuilding myself, and I've been torn down and then rebuilt myself and torn down. And I've been lucky enough to have a lot of people of light and love come through my life to help me and to teach me different tricks to be happy, or different ways to achieve my goals and get what I want out of life. And that's kind of how I have 2 horror TV channels. I have 2 of them, American Horrors and American Horrors Classic, and I get to program the movies. And I choose what goes on the air. I even choose when the commercials are going and what commercials are on. You get what I mean? And
I mean, that's badass. That's a life goal.
Fun. And so isn't that kind of like manifesting your own reality?
It is. It's taking charge of that reality and turning your life and the energy you've built up into something that not only you love, that you care about, but you've put it out there, and it gets to other people.
That's why
I'm a horror fan, and I have a similar, not this maybe the severity, but I have a similar, where you said, your life is rebuilding and you've had darkness. Me too. And I use horror for that as well, and literature and horror and all that. And it is. But also maybe, we agree. I think Octavian would like taking it in and having that time like horror, but also creating and putting that out for other people. The act of, you put it out there and it might help somebody else in a way that you can't put into words, but that is itself a part of that cycle. So,
Incantation bowl. That's what I was trying to talk about before. They would write
Oh.
an incantation in this bowl and then bury it face down in the dirt, and that was supposed to either ward off spirits or collect them and trap them.
but we are going to be running out of time here soon. But afterwards we do the show. I want to hit you up because I want to collaborate you on a couple things with you if you're okay with that about
Sure.
some of your personal stuff. I wouldn't mind if you want to. I'd love to talk with you about a couple things that probably aren't for the listeners. But how do you feel about coming back?
Oh yeah, I'd love to come back. I mean, this new mode of communication is fun. It's a lot of fun, and when I've been lied about a lot. Doing the Dahmer book caused so much fur, and the people in the mass media just absolutely, totally, shamelessly lied about the contents of the Jeffrey Dahmer biography book. They completely misrepresented me as a person, me and my work and what I'm about. And so I try to live my life as honestly as I can. When you've had the world lie about you in such a way, when you were little goody two-shoes, I was, Mr. Honor Roll kid. I was straight A student. I was captain of the fucking swim team in high school. You get what I mean? So when I did this Jeffrey Dahmer comic and had the mass media turn it upside down on me, and people that I thought knew me started acting like what they were saying about me on TV was real. And so now I found my only defense is just to be myself, to be faithful to my truth, and understand that truth can shift with time, with your experiences. Yeah. And doing shows like this, people can hear me and get to know me, and we could share our experiences and, maybe kind of grow up together a little bit and maybe learn a little something. And I know that sounds pompous as fuck, but
not
it's
at all.
The truth. It really is.
Yeah, no, not at all. That's legit. And all I can say is that I've had experiences like that in my life, and it can be very hard when you do your best, and then it just takes one or two people without even giving a thought, and it can turn your life upside down. But you're a horror guy, you're intense, but I can just tell. We can tell you got a good heart. You got a lot of presence, a lot of power, and a good heart. And it's an honor to have you on here to speak your truth. We'd love to have you on again to speak more of it.
I think one of the things that makes me sensitive too to some of this other energy is I'm really in touch with women. You know what I mean? Like my mom was a big significant factor in my life, and she was a single mom. Luckily my father was in my life too, but I also had to take care of my sick wife, and I have trained in martial arts with so many women, so I think that being in tune and enjoying female company beyond just wanting to put my dick in them, I think having actual real friendships with women has also broadened my worldview and has also broadened me as a magician and put me more in tune.
You connect with, because our culture has always had that gap, the gender gap. And it's like, we really are inside souls. We are spirits reflecting outwards. And to be able to connect with everybody as people, but, because men and women and everybody who doesn't ascribe to that label, everybody's different, but our identity that we have, puts us in a little box. And by connecting with others, we open that box, we expand, and they expand. And I understand what you're saying. And that, you're more of a person. I think what you're saying is you're more of a person and a better person and a bigger person in a good way than otherwise if you hadn't had the opportunity to connect. And what, many people in our world don't allow themselves to, or how, they aren't able to connect with people the opposite gender, but you know what I mean? Like that adds to you. It never takes away. It adds to you.
But there's just something really, men and women were two sides of the same coin, and we were literally made for each other. What the fuck? It's fucking hilarious. And every single one of us is here because we came out of some broad. You know what I mean? So we all came from a womb. None of us came out of a fucking vat somewhere. We didn't come out of a jar. We came out of a breathing, living, spiritual woman. And that is significant. And I think that that's part of why in our culture they're trying to make us fight. They want us to fight over pronouns. They want to push conflict, and that's the goal of what's a lot of the puppet masters behind what's happening in our society now. They like the conflict. They want the conflict, and whatever energies are manifesting through them, we need to get back to like, hey, men and women are friends, and they're friends first before they're lovers. No matter what you think or what porno you're watching, they're friends first.
We are all brothers and sisters in this planet. If you want to sound, something hippie to say, but it's true. We are all part of this world.
True. Oh, well, I like the way Clive Barker put it. Clive Barker put it best. We are all books of blood that bleed red when we open.
We are all books of blood when we read red when we're open. Agreed.
Yeah, Clive Barker's awesome.
So we're just out of time, but Hart, where can people find you and all your information?
Well, you guys can watch the channel for free on Roku or Glued.tv. The channel is American Horrors, and the other channel is American Horrors Classic. And you could, if you don't have a Roku, you could watch online at www.americanhorrors.net. Plus, you could find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter, American Horrors. Now, when you do the search, they're going to keep steering you towards American Horror Story because they spent a lot of money to advertise. So they're going to put that shit in your face first. But let me tell you guys, American Horrors, the television channel, has been around longer than American Horror Story. In fact, American Horror started as a company my wife and I wanted to do, adapting films for the Japanese audience to do the subtitles better. Back in 2007 is when we were thinking about that. So that's where you can find me. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Facebook. Now, Facebook has gotten really censorious, so you might have to look kind of hard. They've been doing a lot of weird stuff with me. They've been throttling down my pages. I just did a big Indiegogo campaign. Guys, I do have a store online too. Help me out. Buy some stuff. That would really help. This is how I make my living. I work full time for American Horrors. And also, we have a great ad deal. So if anybody out there is listening, if you're a filmmaker or if you are a novelist or you're a comic book artist, or you just want to get some attention to your project or your product, we have an affordable ad package designed specifically for indie creators that I made affordable, and it's cheaper than the Hulu package. So it is under $500. It gets you far more ads than you would get on Hulu. And last year, we had over 10 million viewers, guys. And our average watch time was for 39 minutes per viewer on the main channel on American Horrors. So we have a big, big worldwide audience. We have a very faithful and happy audience. And no, there is no electronic programming guy, folks. So you're just going to have to turn on that channel and enjoy the DJ while he's playing.
All right, sounds very good. And we will have all those links in the description below. Hart, I want to thank you so much for coming on. We can't wait to have you on again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let me know when you guys are going to post this, and I'll make sure to share it across my social media.
We absolutely
And we will definitely share your things. It was an absolute honor to have you. It was I've been giddy the whole. I've very much enjoyed this conversation with you. And we can't wait to do it again. So
yeah, and then
thank you.
We'll talk about some of the stuff me and Glenn have had happen to us. Me and Dan.
please.
Definitely. And see if he wants to come on the show.
Yeah.
That's a tricky one. I got to admit, I haven't talked to Glenn in years. I've been living in Wisconsin dealing with like during the lockdown, my mom had brain surgery and one of my TV show hosts died. So I've really been in like, crisis mode for a while. So I haven't really had a chance to talk to Glenn for a while, but I want to get a hold of him. I'll probably pick up the phone and give him a call soon.
Great.
I think you should.
Thank you so much for coming on, and you have a great night.
Okay.
Good night.
And that was our interview with Hart D. Fisher. We loved having Hart on, and we cannot wait to have him on again to tell more of his strange stories. You can check out all of his works in the links below. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you again on the Strange Dominions.